Hi everyone, this is an outdoor edition weekly update. It is that way in part because I'm about to go away and it's always kind of cold and miserable when I go away. And in part because I am just enormously tired from preparing to go away, and frankly it's kind of nicer to sit out here and also drink a lot of coffee. Anyway, I thought I'd actually explain a bit more about that feeling so tired before going away. So I'm going off to London tomorrow, which will be Saturday my time, and I've got two new talks to do at NDC, which is a great conference, great event, love doing it. These talks just take an enormous amount of effort, so probably for about the last 2 months, pretty much every day, I've been putting some amount of work into both these talks over the last week, rehearsing them and refining them a lot. One of them's got a lot of Trump stuff in it. It's a fun talk, and he's given me a lot of new material that I've had to keep refining the last week. It is like a Trump cyber talk, so there is a cyber relevance. But I got to sort of probably about midday yesterday, just under 2 days before I go away, and I was just brain dead tired. Fell asleep very early last night without eating much, and then of course your body clocks out before going away, so I'm up at like 4 a.m. this morning. So these events, and I kind of said this when I was on the last one, I think I did one of these weekly updates on the plane on the way home, where I was enormously tired afterwards. And I guess the point is these events look kind of glamorous and kind of fun, but they do take a hell of a lot out of you. So today I've got to try and do as little as possible and maybe chill out a bit so I don't go away tired, because the last thing you want to do trying to get over jet lag is already be a little bit behind the eight ball. Be that as it may, there's other stuff happening, and I did actually spend quite a bit of time this week putting out a bit of material on a data breach investigation blow by blow. Now, I spent quite a bit of time this week, but most of the time in the last couple of months leading up to that, where I was trying to unravel what this particular data breach was. And as I say in the post or link to in the notes here, this was data that someone said was from Eroticy. Now, you may not be familiar with that term, as I honestly wasn't when I first saw it, but this is an adult website, and I'm just looking on my iPad here at some of the info on the site. Fulfill your sexual fantasies, domination, submission, roleplay. Join now for free and fulfill your steamiest sexual desires. When you see that sort of thing on a website and you potentially have the data from that site, it makes you a little bit, makes you proceed a little bit extra cautiously. So anyway, the whole point of this post was I started looking into the data, and I sort of got like literally 10 minutes into it, and I went, hey, this would actually make a really interesting blog post if I actually detail the whole process of how I go through it. So that's what I did, and actually over the period of a couple of months, as I was trying to unravel it, because there was nothing obvious in terms of actually verifying the data came from Eroticy, and this was the whole point of the verification, right? Does the data actually come from where it's represented to have come from? And that often takes a lot of work to figure out. So I've sort of gone through this process over a couple of months, looking for all the obvious indicators like enumeration risks on the site, looking to see if there are other indicators within the data that represent Eroticy, reaching out to Have I Been Pwned subscribers, trying to ask them. And one of the interesting things was, what I kept hearing from people is that the data itself is legit. Names, in some cases addresses, there were passwords, plain text passwords that people would regularly use. But of course the problem is, because people regularly use the same passwords, just because you have a password for a person doesn't give you any guarantee of where it's actually from. So the data I was checking out, but I just couldn't tie it back to Eroticy. And if you have a read through the post, you'll see that I sort of start getting to the point where I'm going, okay, look, this looks like it is probably from some sort of adult network affiliate or adult affiliate network. So I kind of got to the point in the end where I went, look, I can't verify this emphatically. I know the data has a lot of correct information in it, so it's very possibly hacked out of a system somewhere. I'm going to end up just having to load it, flag it as unverified, publish the blog post, see if anyone can help me work it out. Now, I did that earlier this week. When did I do that? That was back on the 10th. What day is it today? This is where my head is. That was on Tuesday. And at the moment, I haven't actually had anyone give me any information which has been able to confirm it. Lots of people sort of interested in the data and have their own sort of ideas and speculation, but nothing to actually tie it back to where it's come from. So that's an interesting one. If you want to see how much hard work actually goes into trying to verify one of these things, go and check that out. So look, that's that. I guess that the other thing is that because of doing all of this preparation stuff for NDC, I didn't actually get to write much else this week. What I did do though is spend quite a lot of time, as I alluded to before, looking at the Trump stuff. This is definitely going to take coffee. And it's very interesting his cyber position here, because obviously cyber, for want of a better term, and look, we all laugh a little bit about the term. We know what it means. It's stuck in the vernacular now. Let's kind of get over it and move on. Obviously, this is a really hot button topic, and the incidents regarding Russia and some of the previous incidents that have been attributed to places like China do make it an enormously interesting time. And I've certainly had a lot of journos in touch with me wanting comments and feedback about the likelihood of this country hacking that country and so on and so forth. And I guess the problem with all of this is that it's enormously political. So we've seen releases of information from US authorities that sort of disclose certain amounts about what they believe to be behind or who they believe to be behind the attack. Some information indicating it's Russia, but very little actual detail. And I guess the thing to keep in mind here is that, first of all, like I said, it's very political. So even though the election's been run and won, there's a lot of people that are pushing their own political agendas. Trump is obviously relishing the ability to rub people's noses in the loss. So he's got his agendas. I suspect the losers are probably enjoying putting him under a bit of pressure as well. So I guess, point number one is that it's very hard to actually sort of separate the wheat from the chaff, if you like, in terms of what actually happened and what is just politics. The second item, and I think this is one that a lot of people are missing, is people are saying, well, show us the smoking gun, right? Like, show us the evidence that it was Russia hacking the US. And the problem here is that a lot of this information is gained in ways whereby if they did release details, it might compromise their ability to collect that information later on. So this is now starting to get into an area where there are capabilities that the US has and that every nation has that have enabled them to collect this information, and they obviously don't want to disclose that. Now, we can argue about how much that would or would not impact any future capabilities to collect the same info, but be that as it may, I think we can all recognise that nation states do have a whole bunch of tricks up their sleeves, a whole bunch of secrets which they would like to try and keep secret. So I don't think we're going to get the sort of levels of detail that people would really like to see that really are the smoking gun in terms of Russia hacking the US. I just don't think that's going to come out. I think that the third thing which is going to be interesting is that because it is such a hot button topic, let's see where it starts to go after the 20th, after Trump takes office. He's talking about having many plans on many things, including the cybers, within his first 90 days of office. I guess the thing that worries me a little bit is that the US has tended to be enormously strict under rules such as CFAA. So we've seen the US have rather draconian laws in many ways, and obviously the sort of most prominent example of how they've flexed that was with Aaron Swartz a couple of years ago. That is very, very out of step with countries like the UK, like most of Europe, like Australia. And the bit that concerns me a little bit is a combination of the US and Trump. We may see that become even more draconian at the expense of very productive cyber activities, such as people ethically reporting bugs. Are we going to sort of crack down on them to the point where they're going to be reluctant to provide that information? That would not be a positive situation for anyone. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. There's going to be at least 4 years of this, which is going to make things at the very least interesting, because he is an interesting guy, love him or hate him. So we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. So look, that is pretty much everything for this week. I've got more prep to do today. I have at least packed my things. I really need to try and actually chill out and relax, and almost feel like I need to be on some anti-anxiety meds or something today, which is probably also known as sunshine and sitting by the water, so I might do that too. But look, that's that. My sponsor this week is Barkley. I've got Barkley back again, so big thanks to those guys for helping look after me. We're going to see a different sponsor next week and for quite some time after that as well, but I'll reveal them in the next update. So thanks very much, everyone. The next update I do will be somewhere in London next week. It is not going to look like this. Apparently they've got snow and all sorts of things that are happening at the moment and coming, which also makes Heathrow go a little bit nuts. So hopefully I get in okay, and that the next update will be from London. See you guys.